bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to today's America. This is Mohammad Tofader from Millennium News 24 round the o'clock. United States of America and round the world. Viewers, our top news today: Biden administration working for our democracy. Biden call, this is democracy is our soil. Donald Trump, he destroyed 4 years our democracy, United States and worldwide. Trump, he break all kind of law, presidential, also general public, business worldwide, everything. Every sector. Biden, President Biden, his voice is, we are just past 1 year and so many things still we have to work. So think about it. As an American, worldwide we are shameful. Reason? Our president and his follower make all kind of law, they are destroy. Today we have a guest, one of the climate environmental specialist, our friend, our network friend, George Otis. We're gonna call George Otis right now. Is his view. In America, we lost everything, all kind of democracy. Do you have any idea how we're going to build it? Mr. George.
No, I know. First, what we need to do, and this is Garland, Merrick Garland, our Attorney General, has to indict Trump and prosecute him for January 6th and put him in prison along with his accomplices. Once that happens, the Republican brand is going to be severely damaged. So then our Democratic Congress, our Senate and House, can pass the legislation we need so that we never have to worry about another Trump again.
You are right. And today is January 6th. Last year, these days, what's happened? Whole world is laughing in America. What the American government, American people, so-called, we are talking about democracy worldwide. And what's happened, our soil, our land. Trump and his follower destroy democracy. destroy voter rights, destroy everything. Do you have any idea if they try to do again, what is our job and what is government job?
Well, and again, along with imprisoning Trump and his co-conspirators, we have to create new laws, pass laws through Congress that prohibit the kinds of lies that he told. You know, in our system, either we don't have the laws in place to stop Trump and media organizations, various people from spreading these dangerous lies. Or if we have the laws, they're not being enforced. So like this is a wake up call. We can't, you know, we were lucky this time. Trump could have succeeded. So we need to basically either create new laws or strengthen our laws so that neither he nor people in the media who support him, like Fox News, can spread the kind of lies that led to this insurrection.
Right now, our Senate and Congress is divided. Is never ever happened American history. So what is our Congress and Senate job? They are our voter. They have to save our voter rights, but they try to destroy our voter rights, our all kind of rights, Republican Congress and Senate. Mr. George.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm optimistic because like Trump is going to be tried and he's going to be imprisoned, and this is going to happen before November's election. So again, the Republican brand, the Republican Party will be so discredited between now and then that I expect the Democrats to win by a huge landslide, both in the House and the Senate. So I expect that we'll have larger numbers, and if we need to end the filibuster, we will.
Our America, all kind of sector, Congress, Senate, State Senate, State Assembly, City Council, Mayor, from top to bottom, we have a lot of hates each other. When gonna be stop this hated? I never ever see this kind of hatred in my lifetime in America.
Yeah, and this was the problem, one of the major problems with Trump. He constantly insulted people. He had no respect for our country, for its citizens. And so basically, we need to create new laws. A politician needs to be held to a higher standard. Our Congress people, you know, they shouldn't be allowed to insult one another, to insult the American people, to talk in the way that, so we need to restore civility. Once we have civility back and people aren't yelling at each other, then we can come together and solve the problems.
In our New York state, one of the money maker state in America, stock exchange to all kind of financial sector worldwide in New York. But our Trump follower and Trump still they getting money from those bank, private bank, mortgage bank, insurance, all sectors. So what is the Joe Biden administration doing? They cannot stop these things?
Well, Noor, you've just hit upon our major problem to everything. We can't address climate change. We can't protect our democracy. We can't protect voting rights while there is so much money in politics. So like one of the first things that the Congress, that Biden has to do is get the money out of politics. They have to if they have to end the filibuster to do that, they have to do it. But as long as these large corporations can basically bribe our politicians so that they're doing the bidding of these corporations rather than the American people, then we can't get done what we need to get done. So that's a fundamental, that is the underlying problem behind everything that's wrong with the United States and much that's wrong with the world.
United States of America control everything, financial sector, industrialist sector, all human rights, climate, all sectors. If we are not together, Democrat, Republican, Independents, how are we going to take care of our democracy and how are we going to control so-called worldwide? We advise the countries how we're going to do it.
Yeah, well, for decades, the Republicans have been preventing us from doing what we needed to do, for the world, climate change in so many ways. And now, it's different. Like there's the world before January 11th, and then there's the world after January 11th. And in this post January 6th world, in this post January 6th world, the Republican brand is destroyed. I mean, they don't see it yet, but when Trump is indicted and he's in trial, when he's being tried, not just him, but Giuliani, all his associates, when they're being tried, the American people will understand. Now, there may be like 20, 30% of these diehard Republicans that won't understand anything, but we don't need them. And in other words, once the independents, about 1/3 of the electorate, understand the dangerousness of what Trump did, understand the kind of danger he represents to our country, then the Democrats, won't need the Republicans. We'll end the filibusters with regarding whatever we need to in order to get what needs to get done.
You bring lots of points. Congress and Senate. In Senate, we have a 2 Democrat. You know them. Joe Manchin, West Virginia, Christina Sinema from Arizona. These 2% hostage the all Democrat Congress, Senate, and White House. So without these 2%, Joe Biden cannot do any kind of job. They cannot bring Republican. They cannot bring independents. But these 2% destroy American economy, American education, also climate. They don't want any climate bill in the Congress. Do you have any idea what is Joe Biden's job? He can do any executive plan for this kind of job?
Well, Joe Biden's job is to basically win enough Senate seats in November that Manchin and Sinema are not, they're inconsequential. They no longer matter. If we can win 4, 5, 6 seats in the Senate, and we can, then all of a sudden we have the votes to end the filibuster and to do what we need to do. That Joe Biden has to ensure that the Democratic Party wins big in November.
But President, he cannot have any special power to do something.
I mean, like he's not just the president of the United States, he's also the head of the Democratic Party. And, to my thinking, the Democrats, if they want to, if they're listening to their conscience and to what this country needs, rather than listening to their financiers, these corporations that buy them also, if they're doing the right thing, they will understand that our country, can't risk this continuing threat of Trump. And so they will basically ignore the corporate money that's telling them to not do anything, and they will, that's how we'll win. We'll basically be able to convince the Americans that it's not in their interest, it's not in the interest of our future to allow Republicans to have much power. There's back in 1932, Franklin Roosevelt gained the presidency. Okay.
Yes.
And in 6 years, between 32 and 36, the Democrats won 40 Senate seats. because the Republicans had just like, I mean, there was the Depression, they created the Depression. So we're in a similar situation. I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats win 10, 15 seats, this November. It won't become apparent yet, but once people see in Trump, once people see Trump going to prison and Giuliani going to prison, they'll understand the seriousness of what happened, and they'll vote so many Republicans out of power.
George, our ex-president, his term 4 years, he did hundreds of job for special presidential special order. But that time, Democrat and Republican, they cannot come together. The financial sector, federal worker, federal job, employee, no one have a finance and money, their stock. That time he did the special order presidential. So I see that time Republican urged the Democrat come together to help the administration. So what is going on this time? They cannot do anything for the public. They cannot do anything for climate. What is going on, man?
Well, one thing that this whole Trump fiasco has taught me is that the Democrats aren't as truthworthy as they should be either. I mean, for example, Garland spoke to us yesterday saying that, that he doesn't have the evidence yet to convict Trump. He's had it from day one. I mean, the Democrats need to reform themselves also if we're going to defeat the Republicans the way we need to. Biden today in his speech, I listened to his speech. He talked about he told us things we already know, about what happened on January 6th and all that and the danger. He didn't tell us what he's done about it, and he told us vaguely what he intends to do, but we need to know what he's doing now. And it's this kind of forthrightness, this kind of responsibility from Democrats that is indispensable. If money controls the Democrats to the point that the Republican Party is essentially destroyed in a way. I mean, there was a party many years ago, the Whigs, no longer exist. I mean, that's the fate of the Republican Party. But if the Democrats continue to choose to listen to the money, we can't, we can't do anything. So it's up to them to understand the seriousness of this era and first not accept the money from, not accept the threats or the bribes from these corporations, and then, after 2022, after we win it in 2023, when we have a stronger Senate, a stronger House, then we have to get money completely out of politics. It doesn't matter what we talk about, whether it's climate change, the poverty, as long as there's money in politics controlling our politicians, our Democratic Party cannot do what we need it to do.
George, you are right. President Joe Biden today, he told what he gonna do tomorrow in future, and what he did in last 1 year, he do not say any word for that, but he respect the White House, President House. Probably that's why he don't want to declare or say anything to the public. He respect the rule of law. He respect the president place, White House. He respect Congress and Senate. He is the law-abiding president. He make the so many law his life. 40 years he is on the Senate. 8 years he was a vice president. Now he is the president. One of the most experienced person is Joe Biden. But he have to be strong. He have to strong voice, strong word. But he is too soft with Republican, independents, also his party. His party doing nothing. Congress and Senate. They just getting public money. Do you understood, George? Do you have any idea what is the our public have to do with Democrat and Republican?
Yeah, I mean, we voted Biden into power. He came on here today and said, well, it's up to us to fight for our democracy. No, it's up to him, and he's got the tools. He's got the laws to do this. Merrick Garland, our Attorney General, he should have done this a year ago. He should have done this the first day that Biden was the president. He should have indicted Trump, arrested him, and put him in prison or in jail awaiting his trial. That's what he needs to do. Now, to take an optimistic view of this, it could be that they're planning this trial of Trump for next September through October, so that's when people are listening. That's when people, right before election, that's when people will see the danger that Trump was to this country, the danger that Trump will continue to be, and that may be Biden's plan. That to wait until just before the election and then just like overwhelm the public with the danger of Trump, so that the independents, 1/3 of the electorate, just completely reject him.
Probably one thing, our federal government, federal agencies, also Joe Biden special order, he cannot arrest another president, ex-president. Reason, our from founder father to as of today, our history, American rule of law, no one get victimized, no one arrested, no president arrested. You know that. But they have a few, they are out of their job for their work. So probably Joe Biden, that's why he don't want to bring our ex-president to any kind of, punishment. What do you think?
Yeah, and no, we don't have a choice. Yes, while he was president, we couldn't charge him with his crimes, indict him. I mean, we impeached him. That was the only power we had while he was president. He's no longer president. He doesn't have those protections. And so, yes, that's our, if Biden lets Trump go, doesn't make Trump and the Republican Party pay for this, we don't have a country. Basically, like, if Biden does that, he'll go back down in history as the weakest, most ineffective American president in history. And I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to take that chance. I think he's going to do the right thing.
Republican and their friends, their followers, they never going to be learn their own self. Reason, you can go 20s, like in 2000, Al Gore and George W. Bush. How many vote the George W. Bush win? 446 vote in Florida. But our Vice President Al Gore, when he knows end of the day he lose, but he can do the lot of court, so many things. He do not do it. He just declare himself, George W. Bush is our president and he is my president. Republican, they never ever gonna say that. Never ever. They never gonna learn. They never gonna do that. What is you think?
Well, again, I don't think that we need the Republicans, again, are just 1/3 of the electorate. So like, I don't think we need Republicans to support Biden for Biden to do anything. But you mentioned the Gore race 2000. That was the first example of the Republican Party's major overreach. They stopped the Florida recount, handing the presidency to Bush. It was unethical. It was illegal. The Democrats didn't fight back. Then when Obama was president, Obama had the opportunity to appoint a Supreme Court justice. The Republicans stopped that, Mitch McConnell. So, like, I think that emboldened them. I think they thought, oh, we can get away with anything. I think this time they overreached, attacking our Capitol, killing people, trying to overturn an election, overthrow our government. They've overreached to an extent that few people realize yet. But come election day 2022, people will understand. And again, I think the Republican Party is in its last days because it overreached so dangerously, so egregiously.
George, we're going to short break. Viewers, George, stay with us, please. We're going to be back after the break. Thank you very much.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Viewers, we are back again. Today's America. Today is 1 year past our capital city destroyed. Americans have to be wake up for democracy. That day, these people coming from all over the country, also outside of the country, to destroy our democracy and voting rights, election rights, counting rights, everything. Joe Biden administration, they have to do something. Their special authority, but still Joe Biden do not use his authority. He is the president of America. 4 years we saw what is our ex-president Donald Trump did. But Joe Biden, not a Donald Trump. Joe Biden, one of the president, he knows presidential law, Congress and Senate law. Viewers, we have a good friend, our network, George Ortiz. He is the climate specialist, environmental specialist. We're going to bring him again our studio. Mr. George.
Thank you, Noor. Yeah, basically we're entering a new era. I think we, even though this is so dangerous a place in our history, we need to do something about climate change. Climate change is looming for decades, and in the past we couldn't, but now, because of the insurrection, because of January 6th, we will have the ability. A good example, I think, is the Civil War. When we were in the Civil War in 1865, our country was literally at war, military, we were killing each other, but that Civil War was, the North against the South, okay? It was delineated, and so but we're in another Civil War now. But the difference between that first Civil War and this one is that this one is like the Republicans, Democrats, the combatants, if you will, are everywhere. So we can't resort to violence, But it is a civil war, as Biden said earlier today. It's a fight for the soul of the country. It's a fight for the democracy. So we don't descend into autocracy. So it's because that this situation is so serious. Now, after the Civil War, they created a much better world. They ended slavery after the Civil War. So after this Civil War, we're going to end the kind of lies. We're going to end the money in politics. We're going to end the insults, the kind of the disruptive, Republican behavior that's designed to protect their money, the money of their funders, instead of doing what we need to do. So I'm optimistic because the Republicans just overreached so much. They attacked our capital. You don't survive that.
You are 100% right. Our president, his administration, Congress, Senate, we don't know they're going to have a power coming days, coming year, if they do not do any job for American people. American people is dying every single day by gunshot all over the America. So-called colorful people, so-called religious, so many people every single day get gunshot. Our both administration, no one like to do the gun violence law. So what is your idea and advice to Joe Biden administration? They can stop this gun violence our American cities.
Yeah, when we ask ourselves why we haven't done what we need to do to prevent the gun violence, to prohibit semi-automatic weapons and all that, and the reason we haven't done that is because the gun lobby is very powerful, meaning that they're very rich. They pump millions and millions of dollars into our elections, bribing our politicians to do their will. So whether we're talking climate change or democracy or gun violence or poverty or education or healthcare, it always comes back to the money. As long as these rich corporations, rich people are allowed to bribe our politicians, we can't solve the gun problem. Because again, that's the money at this point in time in our history continues to control our politics, and that is our biggest problem.
Another point I gotta bring, whole America right now is disaster zone by corona. Our some state, some cities, their school is open whole over the America. They are not a lockdown. They are not stop the bring kids on the school. Hundreds of thousand people in Chicago area affected by Omicron and Delta. Why our city mayor, education secretary or federal government, they do not stop the school right now?
Yeah, well, you make an excellent point, Noor, because Biden has the power unilaterally to basically force everyone to be vaccinated, and that's what we need to do. Because, we have learned from the Delta and Omicron variants that if we don't do anything, if we allow these people to endanger themselves, to endanger other people, then we're opening ourselves up to new variants that may be a cycle that doesn't end. So we have, in order to prevent future variants of the coronavirus that will happen, or again, two already happened, we absolutely cannot tolerate people refusing to get vaccinated. It's kind of on our roads, in our highways, and in the United States. You can't drive 90 miles per hour because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to other people. People need to understand that no, you cannot refuse to be vaccinated and be a danger to the health of the entire world.
Our New York State and New York City, both, all institute, college, university, school is open. Our New York City mayor, he declared he do not close the school, any college, school, university. Everything have to be open. Financial sector, everything have to be open. So people get affected every single day, hundreds of thousands. So who gonna get liability for these people affected and dying.
Yeah, and that's something else that the Republican Party is going to pay for because Trump started the lies. Oh, it's not serious. It's like it's a hoax. Remember those months that he was calling it a hoax? Those months where we should have and could have been doing something. And again, it's the Republican Party doesn't trust science. They need to be held accountable for killing so many people that would still be alive if they would have taken back their vaccines, if they would have been responsible. So this is, we're talking about the Republicans and like how they've stopped us from doing what we need to do. Now also because of the coronavirus, because they've let it get, it's 2 years already, with the distancing and because they allowed it to get so bad, and it's because they were refusing to take the vaccines, that basically I think Biden will. I don't think Biden has a choice on this. I think Biden's going to say, listen, this is an executive order. Anywhere in the United States, any state, you must be vaccinated, or there'd have to be various penalties, either jail terms, high financial fines, penalties. But Biden has to mandate that, and it can't be up to the governors. It can't be up to people to be good and responsible and do the right thing. Biden has to order it again. Like nowhere in the United States can you drive at 100 miles per hour. No one in the United States should be allowed to just not be vaccinated and endanger other people in that way.
You see, Texas governor, he declared Biden order, state of Texas, Marine, they're not going to be care. Reason? Marine and all law enforcement authority, they're going to hear from what is the governor say, not for president. So Texas is not a part of America. What is this guy like to do? This handicraft guy, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Texas governor, the Republicans in Texas can say whatever they want, but Biden is the president, and Biden has powers that they, as governors, can't do anything about. If the health of the nation is endangered, as it is with coronavirus, Biden has every authority to take the federal rules and laws that he has, the federal power that he has, and impose them on the states. There is no state right to endanger people in other states, by not taking a vaccine. That has to be clear.
We hear last few days, President Trump, ex-president, he gonna do the press conference regarding January 6th. They bring right now, I hear from so many right-wing media, like America One and Fox, also other network, they are talking about this kind of crime in January 6th did federal government, federal agency, FBI, ATF, CIA involved with this destroy capital city. So how dare they are federal agency, they are sleeping that time, they do not know what is going on, and why federal government get blamed right now? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no excuse for that having happened. In other words, like, there was so much advance notice on the internet that they were planning violence. The FBI, CIA, NSA, they all should have known about it. They didn't, perhaps they knew and they didn't do anything, but we're in a different era. It happened, and now, for example, Trump was planning to talk today. He canceled it because, like, he understood that it would be a really bad idea. And the other thing is, like, you have to believe that the FBI, the CIA, and these intelligence organizations have hired thousands of people. The FBI has 35,000 employees. Okay, so basically, they're now in the process. They're not going to talk about this. It's not going to be in the news too much. But they're now in the process of basically planting these informants, these undercover government agents, intelligence agents in these far right organizations to find out who the leaders are. And another, when Trump has these rallies, if they get, if they get threatening, then we have intelligence organizations attending those rallies, and at that point, we'll be understanding who Trump's strongest allies are, who it is among the populace that need to be watched, perhaps need to be imprisoned.
My question is, what is their job? What they did that day, and why they do not stop? And what kind of government agency are there? They are work for the Trump, or they are work for the land of United States of America? And they get the all blame right now. All right-wing media blaming CIA, FBI, NSA, and all other federal agencies and state agencies. What's happened?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point, because during the 4 years that Trump was president, I'm sure he did a lot to weaken our intelligence agencies, to put the wrong people in charge. And so Biden has had the job of restoring those agencies, and I'm not sure they're completely restored yet, but we need to do that. We have to ensure that our intelligence agents are loyal to the United States, not loyal to Donald Trump or loyal to the Republican Party. That's a very important step that Biden must continue to take.
George, if we do not trust our government, agencies, federal, state, cities, we're going to be having any kind of trust in America. We lost our trust. We lost our belief. Trust is most important things in human life, and also country, the ruler and who run the country. What is your point?
Yeah, I mean, if Trump remains free, if Biden doesn't imprison him, and not just him, but perhaps several dozen at least top people, then we've lost our democracy. Yes, we have no good reason to trust the Democrats or the Republicans or our leaders. And at that point, it's new territory. That we would be, the United States of America would not exist. It would be some kind of autocratic government. I don't think we're going to let that happen. I mean, that's a possibility. If we did nothing, that would happen. But it's because I think people in the United States value their freedom so much that Biden and the Democrats have to do everything that is their duty to do to protect us, so we can restore that trust, so we have reason to trust them. Again, if they don't prosecute Trump, if they don't set up these laws against lying, against money in politics, if they don't do what they need to do, now that they see the danger our democracy has been in, then we don't have reason to trust them. But I do believe they see the danger, and over this coming year, it's all, we should see results in the 2022 elections. We should see, by the numbers of Republicans who lose their seats, and by the Democrats gaining enough power to do what needs to be done, that's what's going to restore our faith and our trust in our country.
These days, if you're going to watch international news like RT, CGTN, NDTV, those networks showing our democracy. We are talking about the democracy in China. We are talking about democracy in Russia. And they laugh with us, and they showing their people, their viewers, what's happened in America, January 6th. So our government, agencies, and administration, and president, State Department is shameful right now what's happened January 6th. And international all network, they're showing is shameful things. So if Biden administration is not doing anything, they're going to destroy inside in America our democracy.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And it's like, in a certain sense, Trump was a blessing in disguise because, like, this problem of our government not being able to do what it needs to do didn't just happen, over this last year, over this last pandemic and the Trump years. This has been going on for decades. That's the reason why we haven't been able to address climate change. So we must, we must be able to do what needs to be done. We have to acknowledge that that we can no longer go with a business as usual scenario. We can't any longer allow, and we're getting back to the money. We can't any longer allow the money, the corporations, the rich to control our politics, because to the extent that we allow that, nothing has happened over the last 20 years that should have happened. A lot of what should have happened didn't. And so we need to basically, again, I think it's the money out of politics. If we get the money out of politics, then we can have hope for the future.
Right now, United States and NATO, European Union, they try to stop fighting with Ukraine and Russia. Russia, they have a network right now, North Korea and China, Iran and India. But United States take one of the alliance, Western alliance, international Western alliance, like United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and they took the India too. But India is always work for Russia. So how our government believe India gonna be work for United States?
Noor, you're with the situation in Ukraine, these kind of geopolitical alliances you're referring to, that's not really my expertise, but my understanding is that basically we won't expect that we're going to go over that we're going to have a war about anything. We have, I think the United States has enough financial leverage over Russia that they'll think twice about what they do in Ukraine. But I don't think we have any reasons to fear war, because the people who are in power, the people who are making so much money, know that if there were wars, they wouldn't be able to make money. So these kind of like geopolitical conflicts, there's a lot of posturing, but I think that basically, the remedies are going to be financial, are going to be like, kinds of like trade embargoes and things that don't involve the military.
Every country in the world these days try to make nuke, like North Korea, Iran, Arab Emirat, Saudi Arab. They try to be a new club members, but they are destroying already climate. What else they like to destroy? Why our international community, European Union, America, they do not stop these things?
Yeah, and again, it's like, and this is something that the media has to keep pushing until people get it. Because like, why can't we address the climate change now? Because of the money in politics. It's all that we can apply that to any problem that we haven't had any success with. And finally, for decades, the rich men, getting richer. And I mean, we've been doing well enough though for decades, but now that's no longer the case. The money that propelled the lies that incited the insurrection is a danger we can't afford. So like in the past, it was all right to allow the money to control our government because they were doing a good enough job. But between what happened on January 6th and between that and climate change, that is far more serious. I mean, Trump is a little blip compared to climate change, and climate change is going to be with us for decades. So basically, we absolutely need to do something now. It has to be much different than it was before.
Listen, in Glasgow, England, they did the climate summit, and Glasgow climate summit president, he told the world last week, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, no one in the world deposit any money to climate fund. Not even America, not even United Kingdom, France, and Australia. No one bring or deposit any fund to climate. So why we are talking about the climate? Why our leader losing money, taxpayer money, goes to some place for climate summit? This kind of drama. How long they gonna do?
They've been doing it for decades. Go back to Rio de Janeiro, I think, in the Tokyo Protocol. They've been doing this since the 90s. They just stall. It's all political theater. They're not serious. They make these, oh yes, we're going to all pledge to reduce our greenhouse emissions by 90% by 2050. They'll say that, but none of that is happening.
And
so
I'm gonna bring another word. Why we are hire the guy, ex-Secretary of State John Kerry, and President Special Envoy for Climate. We paying him thousands of dollars every month, may I right? And his airlines cost so many cost. So America, they do not deposit any fund, any money to climate. So why we are taking this guy? Why he have to be on the administration?
Yeah, no, the Democrats, again, it's a wake-up call to me that the Democrats are not as forthright, as honest as they pretend to be. They're not as bad as the Republicans, but they're lying to us when they say that they're doing something about climate change. They're lying when they say that, well, we can't do anything because the Republicans won't let us. They're taking money from these rich corporations, the fossil fuel industry, and the automobile industry and all. And so yes, so whether it's Kerry, it doesn't matter who the individual is that gets appointed to what position. If the corporations, if Exxon Mobil, if these major corporations are bribing our politicians to not get anything done on climate change, neither Kerry nor anyone else can change that.
Another question is coming with North Korea. North Korea, last few years, almost 10 years, they play games with nuke. But finally, they did successfully missile test, all kind of missile test. Where is this money come from? How they make it? What is our federal agency doing? This is funded by United States or Russia or China. How they get money? Where is this money come from? Our federal agency, they cannot found it or they cannot stop these things?
Yeah, no, I understand. And it's like they can't find that money because the money is preventing them from finding it. It's the same thing. It's like there was a report that over $100 billion has gone missing from the stimulus packages for the coronavirus. I mean, you don't lose that kind of money just haphazardly. So basically the money that controls the world basically controls where that money goes, and whether it's underground or whether it's through legal means. North Korea and whatever other countries are working on nuclear capability, they're getting that money because the rich are allowing them.
That's true. Few days ago, New York Times and Fox News, they said George W. Bush time, so many contractors getting billions of dollars, they supplying the ammunition, but they do not supply. They get the money, advance billions of dollars, but our federal government doing nothing. Same thing, our pandemic. So many contractors, So many agencies get billions of dollars public fund, but public do not get anything. Why our federal agency, why our federal government, state government not doing anything for these people?
Right, and the answer is like, for example, Joe Biden today, said we're protecting our democracy from Trump and his insurrectionists. We're actually, we don't really have a democracy here in the United States. We have a plutocracy. Basically, rich people are controlling the vast majority of our government. And so, yeah, what can we do? Our politicians are not going to do what they need to do for us until we demand it, until people finally understand. You want to solve whatever it is, you've got to get the money out of politics. So once that's there, then we have a chance. But again, this is the thing, Noor. This is what our world hasn't woken up to. We talk about so many problems. There are so many different problems in the world, but they all come down to the money in politics. It doesn't matter what the issue is. These corporations, Trump would not have been able to get away with that big lie if Fox News had not helped him, if Newsmax and the right-wing organizations had not helped him. So, we have to get the money out of politics. Then we have to make laws that for example, Rupert Murdoch, he owns the Wall Street Journal. He owns Fox News. He doesn't even, he's an Australian. I mean, basically, it is dangerous to have one person and Murdoch doesn't have much in the way of values, of ethics. It's very dangerous to allow one person to own and control a media network, media organizations, and then spread lies for their political agenda, for the political agenda of this one person. Our world needs to evolve. We can no longer afford to have individuals, however rich they are, to control what happens in our government.
You are 100% right. Mr. George, thank you very much. You are part of our network and good friend of our network. So we're going to stop the show right now. Viewers, today we bring politics and January 6th, pandemic, nuke, and education. So many things. So whatever you are, please watch our Millennium TV News 24 and Today's America. We are in all iOS and Android device, also all smart TVs like LG, Samsung and Sony. Also we are on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Apple TV. Viewers, we are in all social network news 24/7, Millennium News 24/7. Also we are on YouTube channel M24. Viewers, our website www.millenniumnews24.com, www.millenniumtv24.com. Our friends and colleagues working round the clock, international, domestic, in-house, for you guys. Please, we can respect our friends and our colleagues. They bring news, views, talk show, documentary every single day. Viewers, whatever you are, stay, peace, love and happiness. Goodbye and take care for today.